Thank you. Welcome and good morning, everyone. I hope that everyone is having a great new day today. My name is Rick Hansen, and I'll be presenting on the new day process. I've been with BMC for about 19 years now. I've been with the Control-M team for about 10 years, and I'm a senior technical support analyst. Before I start, I just want to thank you guys for joining the Connect with Control-M webinar. And at the end of the webinar, you're going to receive a survey with about 6 questions. And we'd love to get your feedback on the webinar. Plus, we'd also like to take in some additional topics that you'd like to hear about. So go ahead and stay on and fill out that survey. That would help us out greatly. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and take a look at the agenda for today. We're going to start with looking at an overview of what the New Day process is, and then we're going to follow that up with how you can evaluate how New Day is running in your environment. Along the way, we're going to discuss some parameters that you can use to tune New Day, and then we're going to look at three exciting enhancements that we've made to the New Day process that may change some of the strategy that you're using right now. And then at the end, we're going to look at some utilities that you can use to troubleshoot New Day if you have any problems. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. By definition, New Day is the start of the Control-M-Server day to perform cleanup, to purge old jobs, and to load new jobs for the day. And we're going to go ahead and look in detail at each of the sections of these New Day processes. Of course, New Day runs at the Control-M-Server level, and it runs at the same time every day. The reason this is important to you is that during the New Day processing, all jobs, the server process is shut down and no new processing takes place during New Day time. So you want to minimize the amount of time that you're in New Day. Additionally, we do get some questions in support about why certain jobs got purged out of the environment or why other jobs did or did not get loaded into the environment. And we're going to go through the rules of how that happens. Please note also that during this presentation, we're going to be looking at the version 8 environment, and some of the terminology has changed, so I'll make reference to the new and old terminology. All right, before we jump into New Day, I want to make sure everyone understands what the Control-M day is. A calendar day begins and ends at midnight, but a Control-M day begins and ends at the New Day time. So you can see here on this timeline, the calendar day is in green, and then the Control-M day is in blue. You can see for the day of April 15th, with this Control-M-Server starting with its New Day at 0600, the Control-M day begins on April 15th at 6 a.m. and goes to April 16th at 6 a.m. And this is important because it can be a little confusing if you see the yellow section on the timeline there between midnight and 6 a.m. That time is actually on the calendar day of April 16th, but it's in the Control-M day of April 15th. So be reminded that jobs are scheduled according to the Control-M day and not the calendar day. So if you had a job that was set up to run on April 15th at 3 a.m., say to submit your taxes that are due, that job would have actually run on the calendar date of April 16th. In Control-M, the day is denoted by the ODAT symbol, ODAT, and you'll see that reference in some condition names that you create, or when you manually order in jobs, you have the chance to order in with a specific ODate. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at how to set the actual time of New Day on a server. You can go to the CCM, and if you right-click on a Control-M-Server, you select the Control-M-Server system parameters. And in there, you'll see all of the parameters for the Control-M-Server, and you can filter on the New Day parameters in particular. Of course, all these parameters are available on the command line at the server level, but I'm going to be showing them to you through the CCM. The time that the Control-M-Server runs New Day is called the daytime parameter, and you can see that set here. In this example, New Day runs at 10 o'clock on this Control-M-Server. Note also that the New Day time can be set differently for each of your Control-M-Servers. All right, let's take a look at how to evaluate how New Day is running in your environment. The best way to do that is to look at the Control-M-Server messages. You can use the CTM log utility to display the server messages around the time of your new day. In this example, a new day is running at 10 o'clock, and you can see the server messages that here are generated at 10 o'clock. There will be some additional messages in here, so you have to kind of come back to this and look to see which ones are actually related to the new day process. But you can see here that at 10 o'clock the new day procedure started. It goes through these various phases of the new day, doing some cleanup and doing some ordering and running a user system daily. Then the new day procedure ends, and then it does the download to the EM. From this server log, you can judge how long your new day process is taking. And then if you feel like it's taking too long, then you can go into the individual pieces of it and determine which piece needs tuning. So now I want to ask a poll question for everybody, and there should be a polling feature that's available to you over on the right-hand side where you can enter in your response. I wanted to see, how long does new day process run in your environment? Is it less than 5 minutes? Is it between 5 and 10 minutes? Is it more than 10 minutes, or are you not sure how it's currently running right now? You should have a chance to be able to put in your poll question there on the right-hand side. And while you're doing that, I'm going to move ahead to the next slide. All right, what happens at New Day? Basically, there are 3 phases that take place at New Day. The server does a cleanup where it cleans up some of the database tables and some things in the environment. Then it goes to purging old jobs out of the environment, the jobs that are no longer needed for the next day. And we're going to look at the rules of how it does that. And then the last thing it does is it loads the new jobs that it needs in for the next day. Of course, the Control-M-Server does suspend the processing at the very beginning of this, and then it has to do the download of this new environment to the EM so that those are in sync, and then it resumes processing at the server level. It's important to note here that there's this concept of the Control-M-Server active environment. In versions before version 8, this was called the AJF, or the active jobs file. In version 8, they've renamed that, and that's called the AJD, or the Active Jobs Database. We'll refer to this as your active environment. The active environment is the environment that of jobs that the Control-M-Server is currently processing. At the end of New Day, this will be the result of the jobs that remained, that were not purged out of from the previous day, plus the new jobs that were ordered in, and that set of jobs is your active environment, and that active environment is what is downloaded to the EM so that the EM and the server are in sync. All right, I want to take a brief minute here to look at the New Day processing, and it looks like for most people, about half the people, New Day is running less than 5 minutes, and then we've got an even break between 5 and 10 and more than 10. And then some people, I'm not sure how long it's running right now, so they can use that utility to determine that. Again, just as a guideline for everyone, if New Day process is running fine, if less than 5 minutes is acceptable, then there's nothing you need to do to tune an environment, or if that particular step is running just fine, there's no need to change that. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens with the Control-M-Server. When the server detects that it is the New Day time, it puts itself into what we call suspended mode, all the processes. And you can see from this server display that each of the processes is in the S state, or suspended. At this time, no new jobs are being sent out to the agent, and agent communication is shut down. Note, however, that the jobs that are running on the agent that were already there will continue to process and finish, and their statuses will be tracked, and once the server resumes processing, then the agent and the Control-M-Server are synced up with what happened during that New Day time. On the EM side, you'll be able to see the gateway will go into the state of formatting AJF. That means that it's actually in the New Day process. And if you're looking at the client side, you'll see the exclamation point next to that data center, realizing that it's also doing something, or communication is not available. All right, once the server has suspended its processing, it goes ahead and starts cleaning up the environment. I went ahead and put a copy of the server messages logs at the top here to indicate the phase that you're in of the new day that you'll see when you print out the Control-M log. And you can see the Control-M log cleanup started and ended, and then it has the days to parameter. That means that this Control-M-Server is keeping 2 days worth of the Control-M-Server messages. The parameter that's used to set that is the IOA log LM parameter listed here, and you can increase that. The amount of time that it takes for new day to trim the oldest day of the Control-M-Server log is a very quick operation. The database tables are tuned to do that very quickly, so there's not really any tuning that needs to be done here. However, as a side note, if you do decide to increase the number of days of server logs that you keep, that you will have to make sure that you have the database space available, that those logs are kept in the database, and you'll have to have that space available. Typically, the server messages logs is one of the largest tables in your database. Okay, after we clean up the server messages log, we move to cleaning up the job statistics. You can see the statistics information there at the top. For every job that's run, a statistics record is kept in the statistics table. By default, the Control-M-Server keeps 20 runs or 20 versions of statistics for that job, and it's maintained in the statistics table. During the day, that statistics table will grow to be more than that, and you will see that this table can grow very large. And so if you're keeping 20 statistics for every job in your environment, it can be a large table, and it can take some time to clean. So if this is taking some time and you want to, you can disable the new day process from actually performing this cleanup during new day, and instead you could then do that cleanup outside of the new day process. Now remember, if you do turn this off, you do have to take care of this outside of new day, as that table will grow large and cause performance problems. The command that you want to run outside of new day to perform the exact same thing that new day would have done is the ctm runinf-purge command. That command is documented in our utilities guide. Additionally, in addition to that, you can see listed here that the new day process also cleans up the job inf table, which is a Control-M-Server internal table that's a very quick operation, and no tuning is really needed there. And in addition to this, at that same time, it's not listed, but the new day process also does remove the prerequisite conditions that are exactly 1 year old from this day. And the reason for that is that they don't want jobs, any conditions that were remaining from the prior year, want to make sure those are removed so that jobs that are waiting on those conditions don't immediately start. There is a parameter that can be used to disable that, but BMC does not recommend that you disable that and you go ahead and allow the new day process to remove those conditions that are exactly 1 year old. After we do the statistics cleanup, we move into cleaning up some of the environment, specifically on the agents. The new day process will send a trigger to all of the agents in your environment to clean up the sysout and the job status files that are on the agent, according to the number of days that agent should keep its sysout. Before version 8, that was called sysout. In version 8, that's called output. And the parameter, if this step of the new day process is taking a long time, you can also disable this by setting the agent's cleanup and new day parameter to no. And then you would definitely also, just like statistics, have to take care of this outside of the new day process by running a daily scheduled job. The command to do that equivalent is the ctm agent clean command and specifying all agents. And then that would purge the agent sysout. All right, after we do some cleanup in the environment, we then move to purging jobs out of the active environment. The Control-M-Server will remove the jobs that it no longer needs to carry over for the next day. Now, it has some rules it uses to determine which jobs it should purge out of the environment. For every job, it has a parameter which is listed here called the keep active for parameter. This parameter is the name for it in version 8. Prior to version 8, this parameter was called the max wait parameter. You've probably heard that or familiar with that. The max wait or the keep active for parameter specifies the number of days that the new day is to retain that job in the active environment. Now it has to use that parameter plus the ending state of the job to determine if the job is going to be purged or remained. So I listed a couple of ending states here that we can go through. So if a job has ended okay, then no matter what the keep active for or the max wait is set for, if the job ends okay, then that job is going to be purged from the environment. If a job ends not okay, then the Control-MServer does something a little bit different for just these specific not okay jobs, and that is it adds 1 to the keep active for value or the max wait value, and then it determines if it should be removed. Okay, so what you want to do then is if, as an example, if your keep active for is 0 or the default value, and that job ends not okay, then what the new day process will do is it will implicitly add 1 to that value. So in this case, it would be 1. And the job that was ordered in that day that ended not okay would not have exceeded 1. So 1, because it's been in there 1 day and its keep active is 1. So that job would remain in there for at least the next day. And the reason we do that for the ended not okay jobs is that in case if the job ends not okay, then we assume that you want to see that job and we keep it in the active environment. That way you can do some recovery action or figure out why that job did not end okay. Okay, so then that's for ended not okay. Now for jobs that are waiting resources, like waiting for a node, waiting for a condition, waiting for a quantitative resource, any jobs that are waiting for a resource, or if the job is waiting for a confirmation, those jobs will, the new day process will look at how many jobs they've been in the active environment, and then it will purge them just based on their keep active for value. So if, for example, if the keep active for was the default of 0, and the job was submitted in but waiting on a node, and then that node never became available during that day, then at the next new day, that job would be purged from the environment because it would have been in the active environment for 1 day, but the keep active for value was 0 days, so it would have exceeded the keep active for and be removed. So you wouldn't see that the next day. Those are some of the common ones. Additionally, for not purging out of your environment, of course, any job that is in the executing state, that job will continue to remain in the active environment. And any job that is on hold, no matter what the keep active for is set to, a job that also, is on hold will continue to remain in the active environment until you free it. All right, so after this, we have then removed all of the jobs that are not needed for the next day, and then we move to loading in the jobs that are needed for the next day. Now jobs are loaded in based on the order method of the folder that they reside in. And you can see here, I've got a listing of the folders. So again, this is a V8 environment, so this is folders in V8, which is tables before. And the order method is called automatic in version 8. So the new day process will go and look at any folder and all the jobs within that folder that have the automatic or automatic daily order method set for it. So in this environment, it would look at the 3 folders that are listed here, and any job that meets the scheduling criteria for that day would then be ordered in and added to the active environment. For these other folders will not even be looked at by the new day process. Now, what happens is, and prior to version 8, this at new day, this was called the user daily system, all uppercase system. So prior to this, if your ordering in of the new jobs, if the user day system was taking a long time and ordering all your jobs in during new day was taking a long time, what customers can do or would do is they would specify that only a couple of folders would be evaluated during the new day process and ordered in. New day would finish, and then they would, after new day has resumed processing, you could run a specific user daily command, which we'll look at later, called the CTM UDLY command. This command can be used then to order in other folders or other jobs after new day so that the new day processing was minimized. You can see in this example that there are some specific user dailies of batch 01, test, and batch 02. So in this environment, during new day, the automatic folders would be evaluated and all jobs ordered in that meet those scheduling criteria. Then after new day has finished, you could run a specific user daily for, say, the batch 01 user daily, and that would then look at these other two folders, and those jobs would then be ordered in if their scheduling criteria is met. Okay, once again, so after we now have loaded in the new jobs, our active environment is complete, and now the new day processing really has finished, as you can see here in the messages, but the Control-M-Server needs to do one more step, which is that it has to download this new active environment that it's built to the EM so that they're in sync. And you can see the download messages there, the server messages. As well, on the EM side, you'll see that the gateway changes state from the formatting HAF state to the downloading state. And that's during the download process. Once the download finishes, it will go to the connected state, which is connected as the normal operating state. After that has happened, the Control-M-Server resumes processing, starts submitting jobs, new jobs to agents, and starts retrieving agent statuses of anything that happened during the new day processing. So now at this point, we have completed the new day processing from end to end. Now what I'd like to go ahead and do is move into our next poll question, which was looking at the system user daily and the specific user dailies. I've got a new poll here that you should be able to see on the right-hand side, which is how are most of your jobs ordered in? Do you order most of your jobs in during new day using the system or automatic method, or do you only load in a couple of jobs during the new day and then most of your jobs in using a specific user daily, or do you do a mix of those, using some of the jobs during the new day, but then some of the jobs during a specific user daily? Go ahead and take a minute. You should see that poll over there on the right-hand side. You can go ahead and enter in your response there. While you're doing that, I'm going to move to the next slide and talk about our first really big enhancement. This is a really highlight that you'll want to look at. The first enhancement to New Day is called pre-ordering. This enhancement will actually start that system user daily or the automatic order method. It'll start that processing an hour before the new day time in your environment. So you can see here, new day time again is at 10 o'clock. And then, an hour before, which will be 9 o'clock, what the Control-M-Server will do is in the background, he will begin to process the folders that have the automatic order method associated with it. And it will determine which of those jobs need to be ordered in at new day time. And it will build a temporary table, a temporary list of those jobs that that need to be ordered in, so that when new day time arrives and he performs the cleanup and the purge and he needs to order in the new jobs for the day, at that point all he has to do is actually just copy in the processing that he's determined, and then that copying of the jobs in is very quick. So it can dramatically reduce the new day time of the processing of the system user daily from all the processing that needs to take place to just the copying of the jobs into the active environment, which is typically just happens in dozens of seconds, like seconds to 10, 20 seconds, like that. It's a very quick operation. Now, if the pre-ordering does not get through all of the system user daily in the background, then what it will do is it will It will use the list that it has created so far, and if new day time has arrived, then it will then, when it goes to perform the system user daily, it will copy in what it has done so far, and then it will continue to process the system user daily and finish it out so that it does a complete system user daily. In addition to that, if you do make any changes, don't be worried that it will recognize that there were job changes during this pre-ordering window an hour beforehand, and it will reevaluate the jobs and take care of any changes that were made before new day time. It's important to note that this feature is only available in version 8 starting at FixPack 1. This feature is enabled by default, and it also, this feature will take about 30% more database space. That is to create a copy of the system user daily tables that it's building in the background. The parameter that controls this is the new day underscore mode, with 1 meaning that it is enabled. All right, that was the pre-ordering enhancement. I want to take a look at the results that we have here of where your jobs are ordered in. It looks like about 44% of you are ordering all of your jobs in during the new day time. So this pre-ordering feature will really, really speed that up for you, and you might want to take a look at that. And maybe that's why we're getting the fast times that we were seeing earlier for your new day time. Some of you are about 20 to 30% of you are using specific user dailies. Again, you may want to think about this feature here. If you wanted to see all your jobs in at new day time, this may make a difference in that there's no cost to you now of doing that at all at new day. And then it looks like about a quarter of you are using a mix of these. So again, really the recommendation is whatever is best for your environment as far as the overall length of what new day time you need to achieve for your environment. All right, I'm going to move on to the second enhancement we have for new day, and that is that we've made the system user daily, or the automatic order method, that stage of new day can now be run in parallel with parallel threads. So that can dramatically improve the amount of time that you have to do to perform the system user daily. So this feature is available in 7.0 starting in FixPack 4, and of course in 8.0. So if you're version 7, then you can use this feature if you're using the system user daily, and also in version 8, even if you're using the pre-ordering. And this may come into play in some of the situations where it doesn't process all of the system user daily. If it has to actually run some of the system user daily during the new day time, then it can run that in parallel. All right, the third enhancement I'd like to highlight is that we've also improved the download to also be parallel. So this will improve that download time. That is controlled by the download underscore threads parameter. You want to set that value, in this example, it's set to 3. That should be set to the number of CPUs you have minus 1. That is so that we don't dominate all of the CPUs during the download time. This feature also is available starting in 7.0 FixPack 4, or of course in 8.0. All right, finally, as for my last slide, I'd like to go ahead and go through a few utilities that we used to troubleshoot the new day. The first utility is the CTM log, which was really used to show you how long your new day time is taking, and to see how long each of the phases of new day are, to see if you need to do any tuning in your environment. The CTM log syntax is listed there with just the from and the to time. The second command is the CTM UDLY command. That's the user daily command. That's the command I was talking about, where if you did not want to order all of your jobs in during new day, during the system user daily or automatic order method, you could then run a command for the system to go out there and evaluate all the folders or all the tables that have a specific user daily name associated with it, batch 01 in this example, and it would then at that time evaluate all the jobs in those folders to see if their scheduling criteria is met and order them into the active environment. The third command is called CTM UDCHK, or the user daily check. This command is used to check to see if the user daily has completed, or to see which jobs in that user daily have not been ordered in. This command can be used in the event that your user daily does not finish. So say, for example, your new day gets interrupted by a database issue or a server problem, and it doesn't complete. You can use this command to first list out all of the jobs that were not ordered in that should have been. Then you can do the action of order, which actually would then order in the remainder of that user daily to finish out and make sure all those jobs are in the active environment. The last command is called CTM-UDLST, or user daily last. This command is the command that will show you what the last time that user daily was run. You can first list it and see, and then you can update it, maybe set it to a prior date if you wanted to rerun the ordering of the jobs that are in that user daily. All right, before we open it up to questions, and you should have an opportunity on the right-hand side of your screen to open to submit any questions. We're going to go into an active viewing of those questions and responding to those. So if you do have any, go ahead and start entering those in. But again, I wanted to thank you for attending this webinar. And again, there's going to be a survey at the end where you can let us know what future topics you'd like to hear. For next month, we're going to look at the popular topic of File Watcher. Also, if you do follow on Twitter or Facebook, we do have a Control-M Twitter and Facebook that you can follow us on. We also have a thing called the BMC communities that I want to highlight. If you haven't been out there yet, that's probably the first thing I'd recommend you do after this webinar. Just go out to the bmc.com site. You can select communities, or you can go to the communities.bmc.com. In either case, out there, it's an open forum byproduct of things of information that you can look at. So if you look at the Control-M site, you can look at blogs that are posted out there. There's discussions going on. There's some videos. There's the ability to search or post questions. It's a good place for you to get information about what's going on with Control-M. In addition to that, we do have all of our webinars posted out there from the past, so you can view the recordings of any of the topics that you want to listen to. Also, in our version 8 client, we have a newsfeed domain. This, if you haven't seen that, it's the last domain on the bottom. It's also looks at the BMC communities, and it pulls in directly into the client some of the content that's out there of the blog information and tweets and discussions.